podium, so I have my own notes because I get a little nervous up here. So I will be reading as we go. Oh goodness, I'm gonna start with that picture right there. All right. When we were at Disney, we were kind of talking to a few people, and I soon realized that as we were bringing on new coaches into our organization, not my personally sponsored coaches or even their coaches, but a few levels down, I didn't think that they were getting the same new coach training as my personally sponsored coaches were getting. So I figured, we kind of needed to pull together as a team and get some ideas. So what I'm going to be talking about is the onboarding process of a new coach. Obviously, as soon as somebody enrolls a coach, they're a leader. And a lot of times people are scared of that, a little intimidated. So it's very important that you give them the confidence and the knowledge and that they realize that we have a very duplicatable system with the UFT. We're all very lucky to be a part of such an amazing organization and have the tools that we have. So also, our team is only as strong as our new coach. So when you kind of think about that, you have to realize that you've got to personally try to give that coach as much information as you can. And obviously we can't do that. You can't necessarily reach 10 levels down. So I rely heavily on my personally sponsored coaches to get that information down. Every coach obviously must start in the same place, and that place is the UFT playbook. We are very fortunate again to have that information, and it's very good to know that all the coaches start off from day one in the same place. So the UFT is obviously evolving. You can kind of tell there's something going on, and our website's changed a little bit, our logo has changed a little bit, and as the corporate decides to change and evolve, the UFT, I don't know if you noticed, but we kind of stay one step ahead almost as far as training goes. It's not so overwhelming, it's not quite like the CTA, it's a little more user-friendly. Okay, so this is what I teach my team to do with a brand new coach. As soon as you enroll a coach, that person is your business partner. You're not their manager, you're not their boss, they are your partner, and it's very important that they realize that. So this is the time to build a relationship with that person. I'm still very old school. I still do the Get Started Right interview with every personally sponsored coach. But I don't use the old GSR book or anything like that. I've created my own questionnaire that I like to use, and these are some of the topics that we talk about during the GSR. First off, have they ever done an MLM before? This is really important. I mean, you heard Craig talking that he had tried, opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. I mean, more power to you. I can't believe you come in there. That was amazing. And those are the people that you want to talk to, and you need to know if they've done MLM before. If they have, they obviously saw, they had a dream, they liked the business model, and they understood it. That's an easy person to work with. That's really fun. That rejection is not going to get in the way on day one. So somebody that's brand new, personal development is going to be huge on day one because you want to make sure that when they are hit with those objections and rejections, that you're there with the three-way call and they are confident, that you are going to be there and that the personal development is helping them. Sorry. Oh my goodness. Okay. Also, how much do they want to earn? This is really big too, because I've had some coaches tell me that it's their goal to make $100 a week in 6 months. Now, obviously, that's kind of low. I mean, it really is. So it's easy for me to kind of, tell them, let's dream a little bit bigger here. So that's important for you to know. It's also important for you to know their fitness goals. I mean, maybe they're coming off a challenge group. Obviously, somebody that's coming off a challenge group is going to already have a before and after photo. They're going to be very confident in talking about Shakeology versus somebody who's not very familiar with our products that, might take a little more time and you might need to start them off in a different direction. So that leads into the Beachbody products as well. All right, so Also, family life, that's a big one. Are they married? Do they have kids? Are they maybe a college student still living at home? You have to know those things about this coach. And you have to know what their support system is going to be. If they're married, is their spouse going to be supportive? If they're a young kid living at home, what are their parents thinking about all this? You're still trying to get into their circle of influence a little bit to kind of figure out who they know. Hobbies, that's a great one. I mean, maybe they run marathons. Maybe they like to volunteer their time doing something. Maybe they like to sit at the bar. I mean, who knows? But you got to know. You got to figure that out. And again, it goes back to their circle of influence and who they know. And what do they do for a living? What is their job? Are they maybe in a management position, which obviously that's going to help. Maybe they're in sales. You need to know those things as well so you can help them on the right path to building their business as quickly as possible. And then my favorite question that I like to ask is, what is your favorite thing about your job and what is your least favorite thing about your job? That's going to tell a lot about a person. Are they a people person? Are they a numbers person? What are they really all about? And then I also like to ask what their comfort level is with the different aspects of the business. I always teach people that there's really 4 aspects of the business. There's retail, there's obviously challenge groups, there's fit clubs, and building an organization and working with the customers. So you kind of have to feel them out a little bit. Eventually you want them doing all 4, but in the beginning you don't want to put them in a situation that's going to make them really uncomfortable. Then also, why did they enroll? That's a big one. And I don't mean, why did you enroll because of your finances, but why did you enroll with me? Why? What made you trust me as a leader? What made you go with this opportunity versus another one? That's key. And then another big one is, where do they see themselves in 5 years? Obviously, when you listen to Pete and Sue and just the philosophy of the U of T, we're all about residual income in here. And, I'm never going to tell somebody that you're going to get rich quick. If that's what you're looking for, I'm not your person. But if you want to dream big in the next 5 years, let me help you. Because that's kind of the seed you need to plant on day 1 with those coaches is, let's dream big, in a few years. So learning this information is really going to help you to bond with your coach, and it's going to help you to determine which way you're going to go next with your training. So let's say they decided they're going to do a challenge group. That's going to be your best bet for this coach. Well, then obviously we should take them to the CTA and go through that challenge group training. And this is another thing. You've got to know all of your tools. We've got the CTA. Obviously, we have the playbook. And then we also have the Eagle, Double Eagle, Triple Eagle, thanks to Patrick. And that's a big one. If you've got a numbers person, you've got to send them through that. If you've got a challenge group person, you've got to send them back to the CTA. But you have to know that. And you also have to be very familiar with your tools in your toolbox. So I also, as I'm working with them, I always give them homework. This is a big deal. It's going to keep that relationship going and it's going to keep them busy. So as you give them something to do, say, okay, you go do this training or go buy this book or that kind of thing, then you make sure you set a deadline and you set up your equipment to talk to them again, follow up. Also, this is something I heard from Doug Fitzgerald a few meetings back about your expectations for them. And when he was talking about this, it really made me stop and think. We have these expectations of these coaches, and sometimes we say, get to emerald, get to emerald, get to emerald. And they do that, I think we just take it for granted that they're just going to keep going. But if you honestly see something in this new coach, and be genuine, you've got to tell them. Just say, what, I really think you're going to be my next diamond. And I really think you're going to be crossing stage next year as a 1-star or a 2-star or whatever you see for them. That's really important for you to plant that seed in the beginning. But again, you want to be really careful about not making it about your dream, not to get rank advancement, anything like that. Just, encourage them and help them and really set that expectation high if that's what you feel is their dream as well. Now, how do you keep track of all this? This is the big thing. This is kind of what my team and I have been working on, is a checklist. It's really important. If we're signing up or enrolling 2, 3, 4 coaches a month, which we should be doing, it's going to be difficult to keep all of this straight in your head. So you've got to have your own personal checklist. So these are some of the things that I put on my checklist. That slide is way too small. So obviously we do name, date of enrollment, coach ID number, city, state, and time zone, which challenge pack they chose, the expected income and time they're able to commit to the business, their email address and phone number, their UFT info as far as how quickly they got through the playbook and how that all went, your GSR interview info, take notes on that and the date that it was completed, CTA info as far as which trainings they went through for that and when that was completed. And if they understand Success Club, a lot of new coaches, right out of the gate, need to know that, and you need to know as a sponsor that they truly understand not how to do it, but really the value of it as well. And have they started their list? That's a big one too. You got to keep them going. And then also the very last thing is notes. You've got to have room on that page for a lot of notes. Every time I talk to a personally sponsored coach, I don't care if they're a brand new coach or they've been a coach for 5 years with me, I write that conversation down. I can always go back to it. And they said, oh yeah, I'm going to Super Saturday, or oh yeah, I just started that book, or I'm going to go through that training. That way you can hold them accountable. In a few days you can call them back and see how everything's going. All right, so this is just to kind of follow up. This is kind of a recap of everything. When you get a new coach, you walk them through their back office. You help them enroll in the UFT, and you put them through the UFT playbook and training. You add them into the UFT Facebook page, and you use a short questionnaire to learn about their expectations and their skill set. You build a relationship, and you keep that going, and you get them to engage in the daily tasks immediately. Give them homework, and make sure you have a checklist to keep track of everything. So that's kind of what we've been working on our team, and it has really been working well. And since I have an extra couple minutes here, I asked Pete if I could just call out a few of my diamonds in the audience, because I'm so proud of my team. I'm going to ask you to stand up if you're in the room.